points. I think specifically, I know a couple people tossed out just indicators that they were burnt out. I think, are there any things that you guys would mention in terms of just advice of things to look out for if somebody is like, hey, I'm not sure if I'm burnt out right now, or I don't know what burnout is. What are some things that you think they might be able to look for?
A couple of things that you might want to think about personally, or even if you're looking at your cohorts or your classmates or your coworkers too, like if normal routines start to change up drastically and you're finding yourself struggling to either get out of bed in the morning or go to bed at night because you have anxiety about the next day, I think those are pretty good indicators of burnout. At the same time, burnout could look like a lot of things. You could be, closed up and you might not want to go out and see the rest of the world. But at the same time, maybe you're trying to do a million things and you just can't stop. Like you just want to continue to do more. So it blocks some of those ideas or some of those thoughts that maybe you need to take some time to settle down with. And that kind of gets in the way too. I think for me, especially with the job that I previously had, or the job that I have currently, when I first got out of Learn, I just wanted to learn everything that I possibly could. And at that time, I really set myself up for success. I took a job that I was the only web developer there. Somehow I was able to con them into, letting them manage their sites when maybe I shouldn't have had any business to do that. But that's neither here nor there. And I kind of paid for it because everything that came up, I had to take a lot of time to spend studying and learning. And I love learning, but I think there was a point in time where I had to stop and I had to figure out smarter ways to get projects done. And I had to make sure that everything that we were doing was in a much better format and fashion. And I also had to just make sure that I was temperature checking myself too. Like if every day I was going back and I was spending another 5 hours outside of work trying to learn something, I mean, you could only get so far doing that. And especially when you graduate from Learn, that tendency to do that is there. So you have to find a good balance.
All great points. Yep.
Yeah, for me, it's a couple of things. I think what was just mentioned about routines is super important. Like what are the routines that you have that help you relax? If you're not maintaining those, maybe it's time to check in with yourself and figure out why. For me, more concretely, once I'm veering towards burnout, everything makes me annoyed. Stupid little things make me super annoyed. And it's completely illogical, but it can be something really minor. So at that point, I need to start like really paying attention. And then even more danger zone, by the time I'm catching like weird bugs and no one else is sick, it's time to take a vacation.
Yeah, I would agree on the everything making you annoyed part, because this question I had a little story that I always think of because of this. When I was working in the service industry, when I was starting to get really burned out, like at the very end, I just remember being like, anytime someone asked me for even just like a side of ranch, I would be like, I want to flip this table. And that's a pretty good sign. It's like something that is totally part of your job that you used to do many, many times a day. If you then want to flip the table because of it, you're probably pretty burnt out from that job.
Yeah, for sure. If your reactions to things are changing, like I know for me, opening up my email and there's just like seeing more emails than I was expecting and just getting that like, no feeling, like when you just feel like you cannot handle the amount of incoming communications. That definitely is another sign.
Awesome.